author DL Tillery here, the Mistress of Horror, and welcome back to my channel. Before we get started, how about you press that subscribe button and ring that bell so you know when I'm uploading new videos. Welcome to Mistress Mood and Candlelight, where I review horror movies, horror books, and horror video games while I put on makeup for your viewing pleasure. Today I am reviewing Fort Solis. It is an awesome horror game that came out August of 2023. Fort Solis, it was developed by Falling Leaf Draudic Games. So this game is really fun, dark. It's really on the human type of horror side, if you're into that. But it's a type of walking simulator style horror game where you kind of investigating things. You are in space, so it is that type of game. But I hope you enjoy my review for Fort Solis. There will be some video game clips throughout the review that are me playing the game. I hope you enjoy it, and I'll see you on the flip side. And now it's time to prime for the premiere of Fort Solis. So, of course, horror games are always on my radar because, duh. So I came across Fort Solis actually when it came out, and I didn't get it right away. I got it a little bit later because, you know, sometimes timing isn't right for purchases. But I did see it and knew I wanted to try it out. This is more of a walking simulator. That's what they call them. I mean, you do more than walk, but they call them that because you can't run usually yourself on these or trot or anything like that. Hence, they got dubbed walking simulators. They are very graphically inclined, mind you. These look really good, as you can see from these clips. But, so I was interested because it's horror, nonetheless. So I have to try it out. It looks good, so I wanted to give it a go. So I did get a copy, and I finally played it. I decided it would fit well for Mistress Mood and Candlelight. So it wasn't really much to me deciding that. The deciding factor as far as doing it for the show is usually the length of the game. That plays a big factor because it was horror games tend to not be that long. If they do get long, someone did something wrong. They don't usually tend to be that long. Being something long in horror doesn't really work. And that being because you only can try to scare someone so long, before they just get desensitized to it. So hence why you making long stories and books and long stories for movies as far as horror doesn't scare as well as short and sweet. This is I think Fort Solis is about 2 hours and some change. 2.5 depending, you know what I mean? So yeah, it's not super long or anything like that. It's really not. So, but it's fit for Mistress Moon Candlelight. So I'm primed for the premiere of Fort Solis. So let's jump into the characters and the plot. So before I jump into the characters and then the plot, this is the makeup I'm going to be using today, actually, based off the video game Silent Hill, which is a horror game. If you don't know, this is the collector's edition of the makeup set. So that's what I'll be using for those enthusiasts who are horror video game fans and know exactly what Silent Hill is. And I did a unboxing on my TikTok for this makeup because it's really, really cool, and I was obsessed with getting it. There's so many more I want to get. There's a Friday the 13th collector's edition or box set of the makeup line. There is a Nightmare on Elm Street one. I want that one as well. But inside, there's different makeup palettes. This one's from Pyramid Head. And then they got the Nurse. And then there's a few lipsticks. I'll show you real quick before I jump into the whole plot. See? It's really cool. That. Really cool. So I'll be working from these palettes in the lipstick line today. So I'm going to pull those out. You start off with the two characters that you'll be playing as. And the male lead's name is Jack Leary, and I know the other character, the female, her name is Jessica. I don't remember what her last name is. If they mentioned what her last name was, I don't recall. Um, but anyway, so you start off with those two. They are um, stationed, or this is the plot now. They are stationed. I want to say Mars. I want to say Mars. It looked like it was Mars. But they are stationed on another planet, not Earth. And they are engineers, of course. They are engineers and they're working on a station. Something need to be repaired. And they receive an alarm from Fort Solis. And Fort Solis is a station that is one of the research stations. So like the researchers are there. So you receive the alarm call, and Jack's like, well, I should check it out. And she's like, okay, well, watch out for the storms. So there's storms, like, I guess think about sandstorms type of situation. So that's the plot. That's what begins the story. That's what starts things off. So Jack leaves Jessica there and heads over. He gets in one of their vehicles, and as the vehicle drives, it takes you to Fort Solis, and then the opening credits start to roll. It is a very beautiful game, no lie. Like, the graphics are really good, and there's no denying that. There's no denying that the graphics are really on point. So you get the very atmospheric, the darkness, the uneasiness of the unknown. Though the characters seem to be quite calm at first. Um, so you are going to be talking to Jessica through, like, calm. So like she'll be talking to you through radio. So that's how you communicate with her. Their relationship is pretty good. They're like friends or whatever. And so you find out about the characters as they talk to each other a little bit, here and there. And yeah. So that starts off the plot as Jack heads to Fort Solis. It's on lockdown when he arrives. So now we're going to jump into the story portion. He can't get in because it's on lockdown, emergency lockdown. So no one can get in. Maybe you can get out, but barely. You'd have to find another door that's probably not overridden somehow. But it's lockdown. No one's leaving. There's nobody on guard or anything. And, Jack kind of goes into, like, that would be because the storms are coming through. So the people that usually would be, like, on the outside gate, I would assume, have already left the station. So you find a way in. You walk a little bit, and then he finds a way to in. He tries to. And he has to climb. So as you're climbing, you notice that there are prompts that occur when you're playing the game. And they are slow fast. And what I mean by slow fast is because usually quick time events, as they call these. Quick time events happen when you usually have to tap pretty quick. These are slow fast. So they come up slow, then you interact before they decide they're going to fuck off. And so he climbs, and then you do the little sequence. And it's called a somewhat walking simulator because they walk. So you're moving your character, and they're walking. And you're like, can I just trot? Can I just trot a little? No, you cannot. No trotting for you. No running for you unless the character is in a story mode and they have to run. So you're walking. That's why it's probably 2 hours and a half. But you knew this going in because that's what it is. He makes his way up the wall. You can fall a little or make it clean. Then him and just cracking jokes with each other back and through the calm. He's pretty calm. I give him that, considering, you don't know what you're walking into. Jack. He makes his way up the wall. He's over the wall. Then he has to get to the atrium. So he needs to get inside. Again, it's locked down, so he has to bypass and get through. He does get inside after a little bit. Now, we see that everything's locked down. There's no one around. Jack doesn't follow protocol and takes his helmet off, which he probably shouldn't do. Jessica definitely points that out. She's like, really though? Really, Jack? Like, he's lying to her actually and pretending he has his helmet on still when she clearly knows he probably doesn't because he doesn't. He's not following protocol at all. Not really, Jack. As Jack moves through the fort, he gets to the private rooms area. In the private rooms area, there's still no sign of anyone, which is very odd. Granted, there aren't that many people stationed here. He should have maybe came across someone at this point. So he's like, what the fuck is going on here? And then alarm, got the alarm warning, but okay. So he's going through the private area, no people. Okay. You pick up videos off of the computers or like little chips and you put them in his arm band thing on his arm. His armband has it where he could put like the memory sticks in there. It has your map on there, where you can look back at the video and audios that you pick up. So that's quite useful, especially for the map situation, which you will need throughout the game. It's creepy. It's dark. And that's the whole atmosphere of the game. Also, you don't know what's going on. You don't know what's happening. So it's a lot of things left unanswered right now and why there's no one around. As he makes his way further, he finds a video of Helen. She is one of the main researcher who is trying to develop Formula 22 for Earth. Apparently, there's oxygen problems with Earth. People are not going to survive if they don't come up with something. So that's why they're really here. She's creating plant life and things like that. Growth, I guess we can't grow food anymore. And no oxygen. Oxygen is bad. So they're up there to create this stuff to save the planet, to save everyone. And you know how that can be. So it's found out that there's 6 people stationed here at Fort Solis, working on this. You have the different people. And so you see the different videos as you go through. There's clearance that you need to get through certain doors, but you can't because you need to find the cards. But this is pretty direct of where you're going and things like that. So as you need to get through certain doors, you will get the clearance cards from the different people. So this is when you head towards the medical bay, and that's further down. So you go down to the medical bay. And the medical bay is when you first come across the first blood stain on the floor. And Jack's like, he's freaked out at this point once he gets to that because it's blood, like someone got hurt clearly. As he investigates more in the offices, he finds more videos of another gentleman named Wyatt. And he seems a bit on the edge. I don't know. All these people seem a little off, but specifically Wyatt. So he is looking for these different researchers. And you progress and unlock the surgery room. When you go in the surgery room, you find your first body. This is with the point where, he should have been left. Like, Jack, you shouldn't be here, buddy. This has nothing to do with you. I know you were there to pick up the sample or the whatever, and you got the alarm call. But honestly, though, my boy, has he watched any, horror movies? Curiosity killed the cat. I'm just saying. Like, it did. Like, yeah. Anyway, and even Jessica points that out. Like, you need to not be there. So when he finds the body, he's like, oh, and investigates the body a little bit. And you see the body clearly has 3 stab wounds through the heart. This is one of the other researchers. And he gets his little memory card off of him, puts it in, listens to it. It's like a video of Wyatt. I don't know if it was a video of himself, but he looks similar to Wyatt. And so She's like, okay, I need to call for the backup, you know, the military dudes, because something's obviously off here. Someone's been killed or whatever. No one else is around. He goes to leave out the door he came in, and in the distance you can see a dude swarm, and he goes through the door real quick, and then contamination alarms start going off, and he has to run. So if you already looked through some of the other rooms, which you have to kind of anyway, he runs and goes to a hatchet that's at maintenance or like tunnels. So he runs to that to get out before he gets contaminated, because the dude, whoever it was, released the contamination stuff. So he's like trying to crawl through, knocking down like the little um access doors and crawling through the tunnels, and you get out to where you need to be, where the main elevator area is. And the elevator is already going up, so that means the dude took it. And then more contamination happens, so he got to run back up the steps. I'm telling you, this dude. And he gets to the main entrance where you entered, and then one of the other doors are unlocked, because as you were going through doing checking for like the computers and stuff, you unlock some doors from their specific computers access and such. So you open this one door once you get your helmet back on, and then another researcher falls through the door who has already been attacked by whoever is doing that, stabbed also 3 times. And it's the woman Helen, who was the main researcher for the cures and oxygen, whatever she was making. Yeah. So that's it for her. She's not alive. And you know someone's going around doing like unaliving people. So you are in communication with Jessica after she already called for the for backup and military help. Um, so now you must make it to the hangar bay. On your way there, you almost get hit by like a random big cargo thing, but of course, Mr. Crazy, whoever's going around, everybody, push that. You know that, so you can do a quick time event and not be hit by it, or you can get hit by it, then you have a limp. But I didn't get hit by it. You make it go through, you got to do a few things like go on the train tracks and stuff. Everything's breaking, so you have to push some doors sometimes, and then you get where you need to be, back outside. So you go back outside to get back inside, because of the way things got locked down from the contamination that Mr. Crazy was running around doing stuff. So you're trying to get to the generator room, so you get there, and of course you now run into Mr. Crazy, and you find out it's Wyatt. Of course, he's the one going around stabbing everybody. So you can fight him. Now, I failed the quick time event on this, but I've heard like it didn't matter if you did do it, he still has to capture you. So he captures Jack, and then you switch to Jessica. She's outside, and she's like calling for Jack, because you know she hears he gets attacked. And she tries to call and check with backup. They're still on their way and out there. She's like, I'm gonna have to go save him. So against her better judgment, she gets out, but then her storms are going off like crazy, right? So since the storms are going off like crazy, she has to chain herself to underneath her vehicle until it passes, which you have to quick time event do that. And then she gets out, and then she heads to Fort Solis. Goes in the same way, kind of. She can't climb because he used that already. So then she goes through the other doors. She has to go get tools from the vehicle and cut through the door. So as soon as she steps inside, Mr. Crazy Man's there. And he's like looking at her like, oh, I didn't scare you. I'm like, okay. And then it's like silence, too much silence going on between the two. And I'm like, this is very nerve wracking. And then he's like, so who are you with? Like, she knows that this dude is off. And she's like, I'm by myself. I'm answering to the alarm that went off. And he said, right, the alarm, and like smiles creepily. Like, I'm like, girl, you need to run and get out of here like so fast right now, Mr. Crazy. No. So this dude looking at you like I'm gonna twist your head off. She runs. You can do quick time event either if you fail or not fail it, and she still makes it. She runs and quickly locks the door, and he's at the door like, "Who open the door?" And he loses this a little bit, like telling her to open the door. This dude is super cray cray. Okay, like cray cray. If there was a definition, like a picture for the definition of cray cray, that'd be him. That'd be Mr. Wyatt there, okay? He'd be there. So he been going around stabbing everybody because he wants to stop it. It's not something unethical happening, and you shouldn't do it. Apparently there's a garden, a greenhouse, and I guess maybe we couldn't even grow fruit or anything on our planet. So this woman has this entirety place in this station that's fruits and vegetables growing, and it's supposed to help with oxygen and stuff. So he's trying to save people, but humans, they could turn anything into something bad, a weapon more than likely. So it was something going on like that. There's different reports around that you could read and all that, as you can see. But this guy wanted to stop it, and he's lost his mind. Cabin fever kind of lose your mind. So you have to, you're like, he's like, see you later and stuff through the door, and then he like disappears. So then you head in to go back where Jack was because you're trying to save him. So Jess gets there into the generator room where Jack got attacked. She see that he's not there. She was like, please be here. He took him away, of course. So she goes on, and then the dude starts contacting you through radio, and he's like, you need to stop what you're doing, because she's unlocking the place and stuff and looking for him. And he's like, she's unlocking stuff, and she goes, you have to go out and get rid of the lockdown. So that's what you do. She does all that. While she's getting rid of the lockdown, she comes across another body. Jack came across one of the researchers. As you go through, he came across them too, different bodies. So it comes up to the number 6. So they all have been taken out. So she comes across one of the researchers that was in this part of the station, like the communications hub, and does the lockdown. But she has one more thing she has to do. She has to go back in and go to the cantina and get level 5 clearance to get through a certain area. When she's like half doing it, this dude's like, I'm coming, that's it. I'm tired of you doing what you're doing. I'm coming. I'm like, no, sir, how about you stay where you are? No one wants to run into Mr. Cray Cray. You make your way to undo the rest of the lockdown. So you need to access level 5. So you get that, and then you go through the room there. Where you get the level access 5 from the cantina, and that's where you see one of the other last researchers, Adam, I think it was, with his, cut. So that's, done. So you get that. Now you can head to the next area. This is the greenhouse. He's like, you come here to the greenhouse before, like, whatever, dude. So she goes through the access tunnels to get there instead of going to the main area, so you don't run into Mr. Cray Cray. While going there, she knows Jack probably where he was. But this is where you find out what the researchers were doing. So this is the greenhouse where all the growth and all the fruits and stuff have been growing. But this thing is, they grow too rapidly. So it's something obviously wrong with Formula 22. You go through, you find a few videos about the research and something about it being unethical. I don't know what she did, what was done, but you know how that type of stuff is. But it does mention, I think it's to do with the rate of growth that it happened. So they had to dig further for the soil, and then she came up with Formula 23, so she was able to do it. And then you get to a location where it's like huge in there, where they have a lot of growth. And then there's this glass elevator that you take to another glass elevator. You go down on the second one to the ground level, go up, and then you go down. And this is where you're going to run into Mr. Crazy. And he grabs her, she fights him off and stabs him, and then he runs because he got stabbed. And she's like, I'm totally not calm now. No, I can't stay calm anymore. This is crazy. And then you find Jack in a chair, like knocked out. And so here is the point where you have to confront Mr. Cray. Okay? And yeah, he has an axe. Yeah. He has an axe, so he's going on and on about how he, like, she's like, look, we can just leave here all together and, like, calm down, crazy. We can leave here together and, Like, you could just tell them what's happening here. And, you know, I saw her research. And he's like, what about my research? Like, sir, your videos weren't really here, so I don't know what you want. Um, so it smells really good. Anyway, uh, he leaves it. He's not saying anymore. If you're trying to talk any sense to him, it's a waste of time. So he's walking closer with his axe, and my girl's getting nervous. He said, "You see your hand shaking there? That's the start of it." I'm like, "Sir, I don't need you to back up. I need you to back up off me." You know, he's not saying. She's wasting her time trying to talk to him. So he's getting closer. She's backing up a little bit, and he's like, "They fired me from my station, took everything, and I'm trying to help you." Like, this dude's crazy. And then so he swings the axe, and she dodges, and then they quick time event it a little bit. He has her up on the table. Jack falls out the chair because he's unconscious, and she's trying to fight him off. When she stabbed him earlier, she punches him in the spot, and then he kind of backs off. Then he tries to swing on her. Then she tries to fight him. She grabs the axe because it hits the table, and she hits him. And then they're fighting over the axe, and then he hits her in the stomach with part of it. That's it for her, really. She falls on the ground. Jack gets up, hits him with a fire extinguisher. Jack hits him with a fire extinguisher in the head. So he knocks him down, picks her up, and makes it to the exit door. He sits her down to get his helmet. Apparently, during that time, Wyatt got up and followed them real close. And then she said, "Didn't I tell you Chivalry wasn't dead?" Pushes the button as he swings the axe at her. That's it. Say goodnight to Jessica. They did my girl dirty. They did my girl dirty. So he runs and gets outside, and you have to fight your way across the heavy winds. You get into a hangar where there's vehicles. He's trying to get into one, but then Mr. Crazy shows up. Big surprise, all right? Once you make it in there, Crazy Wyatt's in there, and you're trying to duck behind the vehicles so he won't see you until you can sneak him. So he sneaks Wyatt, and he drops the axe, and then they're fighting, and you fighting him. Then Jack tries to open the vehicle to crawl in it while fighting him, because he's scared of Wyatt, and Wyatt is strong, okay? He beats him up, even though you fight him back. And then he crushes his arm, so he breaks Jack's arm in the vehicle door. He's crawling. He grabs the axe, hits Wyatt in the leg, and then crawls away to a far back wall. Of course, Wyatt's crazy, gets up, rambling his ramble. No one cares, Mr. Crazy. You're a murderer. So anyway, he's about to swing. Military shows up, takes Wyatt out. Good. The end. They saved the day. So they said, identify yourself, and he, identifies himself. There's that. The end. So that's Fort Solis. I enjoyed it. I was a little annoyed that they took Jessica out that way. That pissed me off, I will say. But it was good. Good horror atmosphere, more on the realistic type of horror. Not usually my type of gig, but when it's a game, I'll take it. Usually when it's movies, I'm not so much into like humans killing humans type of thing. I'm not really into that. But it was good though. Good horror. So if you haven't played Fort Solis, give it a go. It's pretty newbie friendly because it's a walking simulator style horror game. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the clips there throughout this Mistress Mutant Candlelight episode. And that's me playing. So anyway, I'll see you in the next one. Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, Happy New Year's, and stay scared.